joining us now, House Speaker Mike Johnson. I'm not even going to think that there's a possibility that you don't know what you're doing as far as whipping votes. I'm always worried, Mr. Speaker. Once again, here we are. You did it again. Is it you or Trump, or both?
It's a combination. I'm so grateful to have a president who's engaged and willing to help us along with the process. He made a few calls yesterday. That was certainly helpful to get this done. Look, he wants to continue his agenda. We want to continue to find the fraud, waste, and abuse in government. We want to scale down the size and scope of the government to make it work more efficiently and effectively. And this is all part of that process. But I'll tell you what we did, Joe, yesterday. We put on the floor a simple, clean bill to continue funding through September, the end of the fiscal year. And the Democrats, all but one, voted against that. They voted to shut the government down in the House. Thankfully, we got it through. We will send it over to the Senate now, and Chuck Schumer must decide. Senate Democrats have to decide. Are they going to cast a vote to keep the government open, or are they going to be responsible for shutting it down? We'll see what they do.
Did they change their charter about clean reconciliation bill? They love those. I thought that was... They changed it. When did that happen? I missed that. Let me ask you
an in-the-weeds...
Let me ask you an in-the-weeds question. Do you think any of the Democrats that are in areas where President Trump had pretty good margins, do you think they were willing to come to the rescue if you didn't have it, and they just, since they had cover, they didn't have to? Or would you have gone down in flames if you didn't get all the Republicans on board?
I tell you what, Joe, we'll never know, but there are a number of House Democrats who are very nervous today. There's 13 of them, 13 House Democrats currently sitting in districts that President Trump won. There are 21 House Democrats in districts that he came within 5 points of winning just a couple months ago. So they're nervous about this. They have very difficult choices to make. Are they going to do the responsible thing and fund the government? You're right. They've all been on video 1,000 times decrying the great tragedy that it would be if we shut the government down. And now they played politics last night. They also really spread a lot of misinformation and falsehoods about what that bill was. A clean, simple funding bill is what they always said they wanted. We presented it, and they voted no. So look, we'll see what they do on the Senate side, but the House has a lot. House Democrats have a lot to answer for.
You can't whip senators, can you? I mean, what do you think? How do you think this works? Who are the ones that? I mean, I saw Schumer yesterday. He did not dismiss it out of hand. He doesn't want to be I don't think he wants to preside over the government being shut down if you don't get the 8 senators.
Well, it'll be called the Schumer shutdown. We've already begun the hashtag because that's exactly what it'll be. It is his decision. We have done our job. We have acted responsibly in this chamber, and now it's up to him. And I hope every Senate Democrat comes along with that and does the right thing. It is
Maybe
the right
not.
thing.
I'm not looking for 49. I don't know. I don't think you get all 49 or whatever it is. Go ahead.
No, we won't. We won't, and that's the shame of it, but they should.
Yeah.
Great to see you, Mr. Speaker.
Hey, good to see you.
So, we get past this moment. Handicap for us, if you will, just how you're thinking about reconciliation, the timeline. And, Joe's over here thinking that we're not going to be able to cut anything out of the budget this time. I'm more optimistic under your leadership and the White House leadership that we're going to actually get to a couple $100 billion in savings as part of this package. Talk to us a little bit about that.
We're shooting for at least $1.5 trillion in savings and hopefully higher. And there's a way to get there, unlike any scenario we've been presented with before. This is a new ballgame. Why? Because we have the DOGE efforts. We have a White House that's committed to scaling down the size and scope of government, making it work more efficiently. And so through the reconciliation process, we'll check all these boxes. We'll fulfill all these campaign promises that we made. It's going to be about everything. One big, beautiful bill. That's why we call it that. The president refers to it that way because it will have border security. It will have getting back to American energy dominance as a big driving force of that. It'll have regulatory reform and the downsizing of the bureaucracy, the fourth branch of government now. And, of course, it will have the extension of the Trump-era tax cuts, among many other things. We have to get all that done, and we will. It's going to help stabilize the economy. It will give certainty to business owners and entrepreneurs and risk takers and job creators, all these things that are necessary to make get back to a flourishing economy and a flourishing society. We're ready to do that. Yeah.
Put it on a calendar for us. I think that's the big thing that everyone's trying to understand. To the extent that you can solidify a bill that actually we know where this is all going. That will take some uncertainty out of the marketplace. But when do you think that meaningfully happens?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I've put it on a very aggressive timetable for the very important reason that we need to get to this certainty as soon as possible. If you're a small business owner, for example, it's hard to plan a year out or to open up a new facility or add jobs or what have you if you don't know what your tax rate's going to be. And if we don't extend the Trump-era tax cuts, small business owners' taxes will go up to over 43% in many cases. So we've got to make sure this is done, and we've got to do it quickly. It's a lot to do in a short amount of time. I put it on an aggressive timetable to try to get a vote on the one big, beautiful bill, the reconciliation package, on the House floor before Easter. If we do that, you're pushing it over to the Senate for them to act upon. It's conceivable you could get this to the president's desk by the end of April or early May, certainly before Memorial Day. To me, that must happen because we've got to get certainty. We have to allow the effects and the benefits of this bill to be seen and felt by everybody, from business owners to consumers and taxpayers all across the country. That will happen. But we've got to push really hard. There's no rest around here. It's a 24-hour operation to get that done. We have 11 different committees in the House that are working in their areas of jurisdiction to get all the components of that bill done. And they've been working overtime. And by the way, guys, we started this process a year ago. We started last March. We brought the committee chairs together, told them that this would be the eventuality. We would have this opportunity. And so we've been putting the groundwork together for this for a long time.
Mr. Speaker, the markets have been a little jittery. I don't know if that's if that's come over the transom for you. And there are some growth concerns about some of the policy moves that we're seeing. We are, if you're optimistic, we're willing to wait for a reset of things, there's dislocations that need to be addressed. If you will. But we're told there's no Trump put on the market. There's no Powell put on the market. Is there a midterm House put? Are people going back to their districts right now? And is it just they don't even want to go to town halls, or are those Democrats that are, that are flown in there to do that? What are you hearing from your members? How much consternation is there right now?
Well, there's a lot of hopeful anticipation, I think, in Congress. I mean, certainly we hear from people who are a little nervous about, jittery about what's happening in the short term. But I like to use the analogy of a billiard game. It's like playing pool. When at the beginning of the game, the balls are stacked very clean and neat in the middle of the table, and you begin it with a really hard strike to the center, and you break the balls up and send them all across the table. A good pool player does that to spread them out, and then begins the strategy where you go and sink the balls with precision in the various holes. That's the game. You begin to score. President Trump is that great disruptive force. He's like that pool cue, right? He has scattered the balls across the table. He did that intentionally. He's the great deal maker, as you all know. And what I think a lot of people can take a lot of solace in is that this is not some theoretical exercise. We did this already. We had a Trump administration. And prior to COVID, we brought about the greatest economy in the history of the world, not just the U.S. I mean, every demographic was doing better. Everyone was, because we followed a simple formula. We cut taxes and we cut regulations. I mean, those are our core principles and ideas in the Republican Party, and we did it under Trump. We'll do it again. The tariffs thing has got people nervous here in the beginning, right. But President Trump has a game plan. He's shaking things up. I mean, what he's trying to do is really level the playing field against unfair trade practices. And what he's doing is forcing our trading partners to look at America's interests. Yeah.
I mean, this is a very different Trump administration 2.0. The first time around, all of those positive factors for the market, things like tax cuts, that was all put up front. This time it's kind of in the back, and we are going to have to deal with some austerity before that. So sticking with your analogy, how long does it take for this pool game to play out? Are we talking the second half of this year? Or you think it stretches a little longer than that even? These are massive changes with tariffs.
Is there a lot of beer drinking going on? I mean, is that everybody's
hanging around the pool table and watching the game? No. Yeah. Look, no drinking here. Okay, I don't allow it. At least during business hours here. Yeah. Look, there's steady hands at the wheel. What you're seeing is the Republican Party here in the House. We demonstrated last night, passing a simple, clean bill to keep the government funded and freeze spending at this level is a signal to the markets and to everybody else. We are doing our job here. We're going to bring stability to this. The next piece of it comes quickly. The reconciliation bill is where you're really going to see all this settle out, because we're going to codify all these things. You remember in the first Trump administration, when we passed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, it took us until the end of that first year in 2017 to really get to that. That was too late, and we learned tough lessons by that. We've got to do it sooner. We got to do it early in the year, and that's why I put this on a very aggressive timetable, trying to get it done by late spring, because that will bring real certainty and I think calm to everybody about what their tax rates are going to be for the foreseeable future and how we're going to settle this out. We bring down federal spending dramatically, which we're aiming to do. That will help as well. I mean, I think it will bring stability to the bond markets because, as you know, a lot of people, a lot of investors are concerned about the blossoming federal debt, the growing federal debt. We are going to address that now, and I think that's going to send an important signal.
Look, if you're able
to
accomplish all of this, I think it would create a lot of uncertainty. I think the question that a lot of folks have is, if you're not able to accomplish it as quickly as you want, what happens then?
Well, look, I have to have cheerful persistence here every day. Okay, that's what I do. Is pushing everybody to action, making it happen. They always underestimate us, but we always get the job done. And I can tell you, I'm speaking on behalf of House Republicans, my team over here. You know, I've got almost 220 people who understand the gravity of the historic moment we're in. They understand the opportunity that we have, and they're excited about it. So we come to work every day, rolling up our sleeves, trying to get everybody to yes. And we will. We're going to find the equilibrium point that does this, that not only dramatically cuts federal spending in a way that's responsible and good for taxpayers, but also fuels the economy again, to get the economy going. I mean, this is going to happen, and we are working on it every day. We have been, as I said, for a long time, and those big moments are coming. So watch the reconciliation process. I think this could be the one big beautiful bill, as we talk about, could be possibly one of the most consequential pieces of legislation that Congress has ever passed in the history of this institution, and we're excited about that.
And Mr. Speaker, I agree. I would say the debate, that's roiling the markets more than anything else is this question, when we hear 25%, 50% tariffs, fundamentally, I've made the argument on set here this morning that I believe that Trump is fundamentally a free trader who simply wants to bring the trade deficit down through fair negotiating deals. He says reciprocity, make sure that we get treated fairly and we're not the stooge at the table. Right. But there is a growing concern, even on Capitol Hill and among CEOs, that they're hearing too much talk of McKinley-style tariffs, tariff revenue of $500 billion or $1 trillion. I heard from a lot of CEOs who say, the tariffs on Canada and Mexico really disrupt their businesses. So are you in the camp that I am, that fundamentally these are negotiations? He's going to get us better deals, but ultimately we're going to, stay in the system of basically fair trade we've had for the last 40 years? Or do you think we're heading into an entirely new normal of McKinley-style tariffs?
No, I agree with you. I mean, I've always thought of myself as a Reagan Republican, and on the economy, we believe in free trade and free markets. But President Trump brought in a different element. There was a blind spot in the party for a long time. He said, yes, we talk about this all the time. He said, yes, Mike, free trade, but fair trade as well. And he's not wrong about that. It resonates with the American people. The reciprocal trade idea, that concept, is to level the playing field. And I think ultimately the result is what you're suggesting, is that if we have a huge disparity with a trading partner and we match them, dollar for dollar in what they're doing with tariffs, it will bring those tariffs down for both sides, and that will get us closer and closer to an actual free trade concept. The time has come for that. After World War II, everyone has really taken advantage of the U.S. We were the largest economy, the biggest superpower, and they felt like they could engage in this kind of disparity. We have to level the playing field. President Trump is a refreshing perspective and voice on that. I think it resonates with the American people because they think fairness makes sense. And we've got to get our trading partners to pay attention to that. President Trump is the only one who's been bold enough to make them do that. You have to force trading partners to respect America's interest. And they are now. And I think that's a great innovation.
Well said. Well said.
Mr. Speaker, great. We're going to end it there. Thanks for all the time this morning.
I think I lost the audio there.
On your way. I think you got things going on. Thank you.